why and how the NBA players are not on the same level with NBA teams, owners, GMs, front offices. I'm Tony. Welcome back to Street Ball Strategies.
Concrete jungle, hoop dreams living, $1 million contracts, haters misgiving. Owners ain't the villains, world spinning fast. Players sign on dotted lines, cash out at last.
Today's video is admittedly a very niche video in that it's targeting, hopefully, what I anticipate to be a very niche audience. In that the audience I'm trying to target are the kind of hateful, delusional NBA fans who think that the NBA players are somehow like happy kumbaya business partners with their NBA teams. Now, the problem is the people that I'm targeting are the kind of fans that would absolutely hate what I'm about to say. So either they're just not going to watch this video, or if they do, they're immediately going to hate it, which means they're immediately going to stop watching it, right? It's very unlikely that they're going to be open-minded enough to give what I'm saying a shot, even though to me, I'm going to be making completely sound logic and have sound reasoning. Because they don't like what I have to say, they're probably not going to give it a chance. But I'm going to go ahead and make this video anyway because I'm hoping at least maybe somewhere, somehow, this video does make some kind of positive difference to somebody at some point. Maybe it opens up somebody's mind at some point somehow. So even though it's very unlikely, I'm gonna go ahead and make this video anyway. Also, because I know it's gonna get a whole lot of hate if people even watch it, I wanna repeat myself and say I am not making this video or these kinds of videos for the sake of views. I'm not trying to be controversial for views. Nobody's gonna watch anyway. I already know that. So what I'm saying it because I completely believe it, because to me it makes complete sound reasoned sense. That being said, let's talk about how no, the NBA players are not on the same level and they are not partners with the NBA teams. There are two major reasons why players have this delusion that players and teams are on the same level. The first major reason is something that I've repeated multiple times on this NBA topics playlist, and that is that the players that have the delusion that like the players are on the same level with their team, like they're just as important, or they're business partners, or maybe they even think like the players are more important, they're bigger than the NBA team because they're the talent, right? They're the stars. The first major reason they have that misconception is because they value the NBA, they value the players way too much. They are way overvalued, they are way overrated. The fans that are making this mistake, having this delusion, probably don't even realize that they're overrating the players and the NBA. But the reason they're doing it is because they value entertainment in general so much over the top that when it comes to their favorite form of entertainment, in this case, the NBA, to them, the players end up seeming like they're God-like. They have God status to these fans. The reason it's so extreme is because with those players, in the rest of their lives, right, their home life, work life, school life, family life, it's all terrible. They're all miserable. Every part of their life is terrible and miserable, and the only real respite they get from that terrible rest of their life is when they get to sit and interact with their favorite form of entertainment. And if basketball, the NBA, is their favorite form of entertainment, it's their only escape, their only distraction from the rest of their life that they hate, then of course they put way too much emphasis on the importance of the NBA teams, the NBA players. So when a player, and the news comes out, a player is getting $20-30 million contract, the players, so when the news comes out that an NBA player is getting $20-30 million a year for their contract, those fans in their minds think, oh, well, that the player must be super important. It's for the team to pay them that much money. The player has to be like on a God level of importance, because when it comes to that form of entertainment for them, they overvalue it so much that they create this illusion where the NBA players are now equal business partners with their teams, or they're bigger and more important than the team itself. Now, hopefully that's very few fans, but if you're like me and you spend a significant amount of time on social media interacting with vocal fans, many of these fans turn out to be these kind of people who they're on social media, they're interacting with their form of entertainment because they're miserable in the rest of their lives. And it translates to how they interact with you on social media. They're just trolls, they're mean, they're insulting, they're trying to start problems and dramas and fights with you. And if you do anything less than completely praise their favorite team or their favorite player, then you're immediately considered to be a hater to them. And it's because they completely overvalue that player, that team, and how they think you should look at the players the same way they do, like godlike figures. When in reality, the players are just simply employees. That's what they are. They are contracted employees. Just because they're superstars, just because, they're pop culture icons, does not mean that they are not also just employees. They are contracted employees by that NBA team. And the team has the easy, simple part of the contract. The team just has to pay the players the money the players are owed. And because the owners of these teams are millionaires and billionaires, and there's usually multiple of them, multiple owners of a team, it's easy, simple for them to pay the players. They can pay a player $30-40 million all day, every day. It's nothing to them. It's the players that have the convoluted, complicated, difficult end of that contract because, as a player, you then have to live up to your contract. You have to prove that you deserve all of that money. For instance, an average NBA player gets paid $12 million. That's the seventh guy on the bench who plays maybe 10 minutes a game, and he gets paid $12 million every year to play 10 minutes a game for 9 or 10 months out of the year. If you're that average seventh guy on the bench, how do you justify that? In your mind, as a decent human person, how do you justify, I get paid $12 million to do this, to play basketball, to entertain people? How do you justify that? How do you live up to that? How do you earn that contract, earn that money? It's almost impossible. And if it's almost impossible for that seventh guy on the bench, how is it attainable for the $20 million, $30 million superstar face of the team? It's pretty much impossible. But yet and still, even though it is impossible, you're still required to try to give everything you possibly can to play the best basketball you can so that your team gets as many wins as it possibly can. You're expected to go above and beyond because of the outrageous amount of money you're being paid. And because us as a society, there's many of us that, millions and millions of us, the fans that watch the NBA, millions of those fans, they have that problem where they value it, they overvalue it so much that despite the cost to be involved with the NBA, to watch the games, to go to games, the merch, the jerseys, the concessions, all of the costs that are required to interact with your favorite form of entertainment, it doesn't matter how high those prices go. Those fans will continue to pay that because that form of entertainment's all they have. It's the one and only thing that brings them joy, so it doesn't matter how much it costs, they will keep paying. Thus, NBA salaries keep going higher and higher. That's the first major reason why NBA players get so much money and why those fans overvalue those NBA players. The second major reason is because since the NBA is a company, a business, the teams are companies and business whose main goal is to make money. Because of that, because they are professional sports, right? Professional sports have to mirror American pop culture and society. It has to mirror society because the only options professional sports has is I have to mirror what the current day society is so that the society can relate to us as a business And then the more they relate to us, the more they interact with us, the more they interact with us, the more money they pay us. Or, professional sports could just ignore, the trends of today, the pop culture and the societal norms of the day. They could ignore all that, but then, you lose all the money because now you're not getting the interaction with the fans. So really, professional sports have no choice but to reflect society and culture of the day. So back in the 80s and 90s, when Magic and Larry were first starting to blow up the NBA and make the NBA a national mainstream phenomenon, and then in the 90s and Michael Jordan took it even further, to me, back then, if we're talking about the pendulum of power, right? You have players, you have the owners, like the team. Back then in the 80s and 90s, to me, once after Magic and Larry made the NBA mainstream, the pendulum was pretty balanced in between, right? Now, 60s and 70s, the pendulum was definitely more towards the owners. The owners had the power, right? In the 80s, now new breakout stars, national TV, Magic and Larry, now the pendulum is starting to be more balanced, right? So what happened to make the players get to be where they are now, where they're super over? What happened was society in the 2000s and the 2010s, we just decided to become woke and progressive. And I hate that I have to go there, but that's the truth of the matter. I blame social media, right? Once social media became mainstream, like an everyday thing that everybody used, what we discovered, because of human nature, we discovered, oh yeah, if I don't like somebody, if I have a beef with somebody and I want to affect them in a negative way, right? I want to give them scorn. The way to do that is now I have Twitter and I can send a message to that person. Like if it's a public figure, right? I can reach out, send a message to them where they'll actually have the opportunity to see my own personal message from me, who is just an average, normal person. In the past, before social media, that was not possible. Like you could send them a letter in the mail, but of course they're never going to see it. Social media, everybody's on social media, including whatever public figures. You can tweet at them, and there's a very good possibility that they're going to see that. Not only that, but everybody else in the world is going to see you tweet at them. And if you're trying to scorn them and bring them down and insult them and all that kind of stuff, now because everybody else in the world can see it, now everybody else in the world has the chance to pile on and say, yeah, he's a terrible guy, yeah, right? That's what social media did. And then because of human nature, right, we have to take it to an extreme. So that's what we did in the 2000s and 2010s. We became woke, we became progressive. When it comes to the NBA, the way that ended up working out was that if you didn't like somebody, especially if they were either white or rich or in any position of power, if they have any of those three and you didn't like them and you wanted to bring them down, the most effective way to do that became to claim that they're racist. Even if they're not, even if you don't know that they are, the most effective, get to the point straight away way to do it was to claim that they were racist. And the evil, genius, diabolical reason why, that's such an effective takedown of somebody is because there's no way to prove that you're not racist. Because racism is like religion. It exists here and here, but it's not tangible. There's no way to prove that you're not racist. Somebody can just say, oh, I think X, Y, and Z might be racist. I feel like he might be racist. He gives off racist vibes. Or I just know in my heart that he's a racist. You say that, and then the person just can't, there's no way for them to definitively prove that they're not. So the way that manifested itself in the NBA, because of course it works its way to the NBA, the way it manifested itself was, hey, you know what? The NBA players, sure, they're millionaires and, they're under contract, but obviously they only get paid $8 million a year. There's no way that's enough money because in comparison to the owners who are millionaires and billionaires, an NBA player only getting like $8 million a year. That's not fair. How dare the NBA owners? The NBA owners should pay their fair share to the players. That's not right. So because most NBA owners are white and rich and in a position of power, well then that must mean they have to be evil, right? And if they're evil, then at that time, being evil was synonymous with being racist. Whoever you didn't like, if it was a public figure who was either rich, white, or in power, then they had to be racist. And as soon as you called them racist, because they could not prove that they weren't, they would immediately have to cow down to you because a mob of people would start piling onto them going, I know you're racist, admit you're racist. That's essentially what happened in the NBA to the NBA owners and front offices. Now, of course, you have examples like Donald Sterling, who actually was racist, but it's because he took a racist action. He said racist words. So obviously he was an actual racist, but most NBA owners, front office people are not that dumb and delusional. Even if they were racist, they're not gonna take any overt racist action or say any overt racist statements, but yet and still, you could still infer that, they might be racist, and they might be racist because they're not paying their players enough money. So even if it wasn't necessarily verbally, literally insinuated or said that the front office or the owners were racist, it was heavily inferred that maybe rich white guy NBA owner, I don't know, you don't pay your players a whole lot of money. In comparison, you have way more money than your players, so maybe you're racist, NBA owner. And when that happened, right, the NBA owner's like, oh my God, what can I do? Like, there's no way to prove that I'm not racist. How can I stop this and make it go away? I know. Let's see. Here, NBA player, just take all this money. Here's all the money. This is the best thing I can do to help, prove that I'm not a racist. So just take all of the money. Here's all the money. Just, tell the public, tell the fans, we're not racist. Make them stop inferring that we're racist. How could we possibly be racist? You want you want $35 million every year? Oh, you don't really deserve it, but don't call me racist. Here's all the money. Take all the money. Now, of course, that's an exaggeration, but that's essentially what happened. Again, you don't like it, so you're going to adamantly disagree with me, but the reality is that's essentially the bottom line of what happened. So now, from that, you have NBA players, right? Now these NBA players getting paid $20, $40 million a year, right? And just keep in mind, just because they're NBA players and superstars and like cultural icons of our society, let's not forget, like they're just average regular dudes who, when they were growing up, their dream was to play in the NBA, and they happened to be blessed with NBA level talent so they could actually get there when almost nobody does. Other than that, they're just regular dudes, right? They're jocks, right? They just want to play ball and get paid to do so. They go to college for a year and then they find themselves in the league when they're like 19 or 20. So we're talking about like 19-year-old regular average dudes. Like, they're not known for being exceptionally smart, intelligent, or like compassionate or reasonable. They're just 19-year-old dudes. Even players that like are in their mid to late 20s, like they're just still average dudes who spent, they're not necessarily all that educated or compassionate. They spent 1 year, like they probably, they got through high school because they were the best player in their high school. They went to college for 1 year where they probably didn't attend any classes. Like, they're not the most intelligent, reasonable people in the world. Then you give them all this money, and now they're just regular people who have all this money that they know they didn't earn. They didn't earn that much money. They're not worth that much. Like, their play on the court, as a player is not worth that much money, not $40 million a year. So what do you expect to happen when you give an average person, a jock, fresh out of college, that much $40 million a year? What do you expect them to do? You got to expect human nature is going to take over. So what happens is the players go, you know what? Let's say, I'm pretty paid now. I'm pretty rich. I like this. I like that. I know I don't, my play doesn't deserve all this money. All I do is play basketball. I know deep down in my heart I didn't earn $40 million every year, but that's cool. But I would still like more money. Like, yeah, I think I could get more money. I could use more money. I think I should get more money. Of course, that's what they think. That's what I would think. I would do the exact same thing with them. I'm not above them. If I were an NBA player and somebody handed me $40 million, I would take it as well. The human nature just is like, yeah, I got 40, but I would like more. That would be nice to have more. How do I get more? Let me see. Let's see, I can't play the race card again. I already did that. Society did it for me. I can't do that. How can I get more money? I know. If I win the NBA championship, that will increase my status. Like, as my player value, that'll go up, and then I'll probably be able to get more, commercials and endorsements as a player. That'll get me more money. I just have to win the championship. Okay, let's see. How am I gonna, I can't win the championship. Not on my own, and not even with my bozo teammates, I can't win the championship. How am I gonna do this? Let's see. I know. I will bring in other superstars to play along with me, and then we'll easily win the championship. I'll just, I'll force my GM and my owner to trade everything possible, all of whatever players, trade whatever players, whatever draft picks. Hell, I'll even have the owners pay cash to the other team so that they'll trade us their superstar. I'll force them to do that. Whatever I have to do, maybe I infer that he's racist again. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just get other superstars here to play with me, and then we'll easily win the championship, and I'll make more money. Again, exaggeration, but essentially true. So now, 2000s, 2010s, now you got the super teams, right? Where some teams have multiple superstars, and then you have like my Detroit Pistons or like the Washington Wizards who have nobody and they're bottom feeders. And so the parity in the NBA is all thrown off. And then you have the players go, you know what, coach, I think I'm done practicing. Me and the other superstars on this team, I don't think we need to practice anymore. I mean, hell, we got 3 all-stars on the team. I don't think we need to practice. I think we're done practicing. And the coach is like, what? Who are you talking about? Like, we're an NBA, we're a basketball team. We practice. That's how we get better and implement our strategy. Like, that's what we do. We gotta practice. And the player's just like, no, I don't think we're gonna do that anymore. I'm not feeling it. I practiced all my life. I don't think I need to do it anymore. And the coach is like, well, that's what we do. We have to practice. And the player's like, have to? We have to practice? You mean like it's an enslavement, right? Like we're slaves? Like we have to do what you say because you're the coach? Like are you racist, coach? That's not what, that can't be what's happening here, right? No, that's not what's happening. You're not. I shouldn't go put on social media that you or the organization that I play for is racist because you make us practice, right? I shouldn't do that. And the coach is like, no, what are you talking about? No, you think I was going to have you practice? No, we're done practicing. You don't need to practice. We're not going to practice anymore. Practice is overrated, We're Allen Iverson in this piece. We're not going to practice anymore, no. Who said anything about practice? So then the teams, right, that like super team stops practicing. And then because, they set the precedence, then it spreads throughout the league, and now no team ever practices. And because no team ever practices, how do you develop a strategy or an offense, right? So then the offense becomes, well, when you're in a game, you just inbound the ball, run down the court, jack up a 3, and repeat that for 48 minutes. And then, of course, at some point, that same process takes place again, except for this time it's with the referee. And the fouling and the traveling, right? It's call more fouls, right? More intense fouls, like call more techs, call more flagrants, have more ejections for, less infractions. Like, we want to play softer, but we want more fouls called, right? More high grade fouls, ejections, flagrants, technicals, right? We insist on that. And then also, please call less traveling so we can, have more step backs and make it look all fancy. Call less traveling, call more fouls. We as the superstars, the players, and we insist that, referee crew. And if you don't, if you refuse to do that, it must be because you don't like us. And you wouldn't like us unless you were kind of evil and, I don't know, maybe racist. And if you are, then maybe we should let our fans know that, and we should have them appeal to the front office that employs you, and maybe you're gonna lose your referee job because you're evil and racist, right? And the referee's like, no, of course I was gonna call a technical on that. Of course you didn't travel, you know? Do whatever you want, it's fine. And so now the traveling and the fouling is way out of whack as well. That's what I mean when I say those of you who nowadays you complain on a regular daily basis about how terrible the NBA is and all of the different complaints you have, well, guess what? You are the same people that back in the 2000s, 2010, you wanted all the wokeness, you wanted all the progressiveness, you needed all the player empowerment. The players needed more money. They didn't have enough money. You wanted all of that at the time for them. Well, be careful what you ask for, because look what you've done. Look what you've wrought. Look at the NBA you have now that you used to love so much, but you had to be progressive, you had to be woke, you had to side with the poor victim players who weren't getting paid enough money. Well, now look what you did. Look at the NBA you created. You gave 20-something-year-olds who were just jocks their whole lives. They're not bad people by any means, but they're also just regular dudes who wanted to play ball and get paid. You insisted that they get paid way more millions of dollars than they could possibly ever actually earn. And when you did that, you gave them all the money. With that money came all of the power, and now they have all the money, all the power, and look what's happened to the league because of it. They're spoiled. They don't compete. They don't care about competing, because why would you when you're just supremely overpaid every year? It's just human nature to stop caring and being, driven so much when you get overpaid over and over and over again every year. And they don't care. They don't care that they're overpaid. They don't care that some of them don't have the skill that you would expect an NBA player to have. They don't care, because why should they? They get to go home to a major paycheck every night, one that's way beyond them that they could never possibly earn. That's what I mean when I say those of you who constantly complain about today's NBA, it's very probable that today's NBA is a result of what you wanted back in the 2000s and the 2010s, where you had to be progressive, you had to be woke, you had to have power, you had to have player empowerment and give them all the money. You wanted that back then. Well, now you have this NBA now because of what you insisted on back then. It is your fault. And you don't like that. You're, of course, not going to take responsibility for it. But the truth of the matter is, even though I exaggerated in this video, the bottom line is all of my reasoning, all of my logic is sound. You don't like it, so you're going to disagree, but that doesn't stop the fact that my reasoning and logic are completely sound. That's essentially what happened. So now, even though nobody's gonna watch and everybody's gonna hate if they do watch, for those of you who were open-minded enough to at least find this video interesting, maybe like a thought tank, a thought experiment kind of video where maybe it makes you kind of think and consider things in a way that you may not have considered before. For the very few of you that don't exist, please subscribe to the channel. And for those of you who, of course, are going to hate on this video and me and how terrible and evil I must be, all of those comments that you're gonna make down below. Before you make those comments, make sure you hit that thanks button down below, because not only will that thanks button highlight all of your hatred, but it also directly supports the channel, which of course I know you're dying to do. So make sure you hit that thanks button before you comment. And as always, like, share, comment like I said, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever any video goes live on this channel. And until then, I will see you guys next week. I'm sure you can't wait.
Crossover swift, dollars legit. No shackles here, just business grit. Owners lead the ship, steady the boat. Ballers on the payroll, life of a goat.